made to you so special? Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I was from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn!
Were you scared of it? No, not at all, huh? Okay. You're from Brooklyn, huh?
I just wanna rap. Okay guys, Frank Stout, just a guy from Brooklyn, and I'm here with a brand new Alien ranking the entire franchise, including Alien Romulus. Before we get this party started, I gotta go through my 2 rules. Rule number 1 is spoilers, with the exception of the brand new movie Alien Romulus. I plan on spoiling just about everything. Rule number 2 is, as always, this is a favorites list, not a best list. And the best way that you can converse me about my list is to show me yours in the comments section. Kicking things off is Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Came out in 2007. This is a direct sequel to AVP, but with a vastly different tone. Its biggest problem is that it's filmed extremely dark. When you're watching this at home, you have to shut off all the lights and jack up the brightness on the screen. A Pred alien causes a Predator ship to crash in a small town on Earth, and the Pred alien and a few facehuggers cause havoc. This doesn't have a big cast or production value of the other movies. What it does have is the gore and carnage that horror fans love. You've got a female soldier returning home to her family, and a hot girl who wants to get with her pizza delivery guy, which is pretty much a plot that you would get from porn. Be warned, people, this movie gives zero fucks, as children and even pregnant women are killed. Yes, this movie's got some cojones, I'll give it that.
Cojones is Latin for Spanish nut.
In almost zombie-like fashion, you end up with a ragtag group of survivors looking to get the fuck out of Dodge. And of course, the military wants to bomb the town to prevent the spread. There's no standout character for you to root for, and the delivery guy doesn't even get laid, and the alien predator fights are all in darkness. I do kind of have some fun with this movie and didn't want it to be last, but I just couldn't justify it. Coming in at number 8 is Alien vs. Predator, came out in 2004. Pretty much a popcorn film in the vein of Freddy vs. Jason or King Kong vs. Godzilla. But it's PG-13 and his story is pretty ridiculous. You get Peter Weyland of Weyland-Yutani, and he's funding an expedition into the Antarctic where a pyramid is discovered underground. They go there and they find aliens and predators, and there's some cockamamie story about predators being worshipped by primitive civilizations which sacrifice themselves to the facehuggers so that the hunt can commence. Because it's PG-13, it's missing that sweet blood and carnage that fans want to see. And it only gets more ridiculous with a human teaming up with a predator to take down an alien queen. It's like whoever wrote this watched this kid play with some alien and predator action figures and based it all off that. It does have some great alien versus predator fights that you can actually see. But for me, the rest is all white noise. I really hope they don't consider this canon to the Alien films. Coming in at number 7 is Prometheus, came out in 2012. Fans wanted an Alien film. Ridley Scott wanted to do some deep exploration crap about who we are and where we come from. So of course, he got what he wanted, and in the final minutes of the movie, you see some sort of pre-alien creature. Whoop-de-damn-do. Look, I am not buying any of the bread that this movie is selling. It's a modern movie, and it's stunning, has a great cast, and it has some weird horror stuff involving the famous black goo. But here's the rub. I don't care that the space jockeys were a humanoid race of oversized hairless albino men who obviously don't have regulations on anabolic steroids. They created the black goo as a bioweapon, and in the beginning of the movie, one of them tests it on himself, dies, and we're the end result. Oh, okay, so humans are some sort of cosmic mistake. Thanks, Ridley Scott! A group of scientists explore a planet where they hope to find the space jockeys, who they call engineers, in the hopes of getting answers. Like,
who am I? I don't know. I guess I have a lot of things to ponder.
They're funded by Peter Whalen again, but this time he's played by Guy Pearce, ridiculously made to look like a dying old man. Why? There's 100 old actors you could get to play that part. What the hell is the point? He looks stupid. It's stupid. I don't know what else to say. Michael Fassbender plays the android David, easily the most interesting character. They discover a ruin that ends up being a ship, make the stupidest choices imaginable. They let loose the black goo, and most of them die a grisly death. And as far as I'm concerned, they got exactly what they deserve. You fucked around and you found out, motherfucker. Coming in at number 6 is Alien 3, came out in 1992. It starts off by pouring gasoline on the perfect ending of Aliens and sets fire to it by killing not one, but 2 beloved characters. So Ripley can be stripped down to almost nothing and take on one single alien that was spawned from a dog this time. She's on an all-male prison facility full of murderers and rapists. And they have no weapons or technology to speak of. The banter between Ripley, the inmates, and the staff is where it excels. The dog alien is stealthier and provides some pretty good kills. If you're a huge fan of Aliens, like I am, it's very hard to get into it. You're bummed out from the jump. The closer you get to the ending, the more you see the alien in full, and the 90s CGI doesn't do it any favors. Ripley and a few survivors take it on by trying to lure it into a kind of lead melting pot of sorts, and the fact that she's got a queen growing inside of her makes it problematic to be certain. Oh, did I mention that the company knows all this and it's on its way? The ending is a total buzzkill for the franchise, and it's so final that it puts the future in the corner. Some fans prefer the assembly cut, which is basically a little longer and with the alien spawned from a cow instead of a dog, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I'll stick to the theatrical version. Guys, we have reached guilty pleasure territory, as these 2 films are just as flawed, if not more so, but I find them so fun to watch. Coming in at number 5 is Alien Resurrection, came out in 1997. Resurrection continues the story with the military trying to clone Ripley using blood samples from the prison in order to acquire the alien queen. Their latest attempt is successful despite some unexpected results. The movie is wacky and entertaining all the way into the finale, despite the aliens being mostly CG and looking terrible. Not Alien 3 terrible, but still pretty bad. This might be my favorite group of misfits, with Winona Ryder, Michael Wincott, Ron Perlman, Gary Dourdan, and Kim Flowers, amongst others. Raymond Cruz eventually joins Ripley and these space pirates as they try to escape the space station infested with aliens. The action is fun, and the clone stuff gives you some weird, fucked up imagery. The new Ripley, or Ripley number 8 as she's known, is an imperfect clone. She's got some memories of the original Ripley, and she's enhanced by the alien's DNA, making her stronger. She has acidic blood, is really good at basketball, and for some strange reason, she's really horny.
So, who do I have to fuck to get off this boat?
Then there's the final act where it all comes crashing down. The alien queen gives birth to a stupid-looking alien hybrid creature with boobs and sad eyes, and it thinks that Ripley's its mother, because the fuck if I know.
get that a lot.
Coming in at number 4 is Alien Covenant. Came out in 2017. The direct sequel to Prometheus isn't a good Prometheus movie, and it isn't a good Alien movie. I don't think it works at all when marathoning these films, but it's great to just pop in on its own, turn your brain off, and enjoy it as a sci-fi horror movie. Once again, you have a crew of people who make some of the stupidest choices while exploring a planet to colonize on. You've got your black goo, which is now airborne and it can enter any orifice. You've got your xenomorph aliens and everything in between to terrorize these people in all sorts of frightening ways. I'm talking really nasty carnage candy. And with that candy comes some really silly moments. Like the two androids, Walter and David, spending some private time blowing each other.
Watch me. I'll do the fingering.
David getting a baby chest burster to
Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you believe that you're the future, scream it out and say, oh yeah!
It seems that David killed all the engineers with the black goo and has been playing mad scientist, blending the goo with poor Prometheus survivor Elizabeth Shaw. I found all the artwork and imagery absolutely gorgeous. It ends like most of these movies do, but with a twist that everybody can see from a mile away. Coming in at number 3 is the newcomer, Alien Romulus. Fede Alvarez gives us a stunning Alien movie, which is more celebration of past movies without giving us anything new story-wise. Whether or not that's enough is what is dividing fans. Regardless, it's the only entry that gives you the look and atmosphere of the first 2 movies. It provides a plethora of callbacks, Easter eggs, and references to all the movies in the franchise. The only thing missing is Ripley's 70s low-hip panties. You've got a group of youngsters looking to jack some stasis pods from an old ship, and of course they let loose enough facehuggers to impregnate a small city. Alvarez reminds everyone of Geiger's work and what it's all about.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Some of it made us chuckle at how in your face it truly is. He also does something different with the android character, Andy, played by David Johnson. Who's the standout here? The weakest part of the movie is it gives you 2 endings which make the movie feel too long. One of them is actually a recreation of a failed ending from one on this list, but with a twist that makes it totally work better. But all I could think of at this point was, wrap this shit up. Coming in at number 2 is Aliens, came out in 1986. James Cameron just doesn't give you a bigger horror sequel. He gives you a horror war film for the ages. The story, the effects, the characters, the level of detail, it's all top notch. He takes all the world building and expands on it. You follow Ripley as she aids a unit of colonial marines as they investigate why they've lost contact with the colony on LV-426. Similar to what he did with Terminator 2, he takes the android character and cleverly switches him from villain to hero, but you don't know this on your first watch. He also makes the audience feel extremely safe by having Ripley surrounded by all these tough Marines who are equipped to handle any situation. And yet in a short amount of time, the threat becomes something totally out of their control. Cameron also really does a great job expanding on the effects. You look at the chest burst scene, recreated, and it's absolutely horrifying. He adds Newt, who gives a motherly aspect to Ripley. Alien 3 does a total cockblock on new character Hicks, played by Michael Biehn, who ironically was thrown in mid-production as a replacement. He was supposed to be a love interest down the line for Ripley, and you got some more irony as he did the exact same thing in the movie Terminator. Another Terminator actor, Bill Paxton, stands out by being the cocky soldier, and you get to know all these Marines pretty quickly. Then there's the guy you love to hate, Carter Burke, played by Paul Reiser. Gaping asshole would be a compliment. The introduction of the egg-laying queen alien is epic to say the least. If memory serves, it took 3 people to form Her Highness. She is just glorious. Ripley going from survivor to consultant to leader and then badass Rambo character feels like a natural evolution, but it's also a reflection of the 80s, which was as macho as it gets. Personally, I think it's Cameron's best movie, and it's perfect. It's so good, they haven't been able to top it since. And my number 1 alien movie is Alien. Came out in 1979. Both Alien and Aliens are perfect 5-star films. The reason I have Alien first is it did it first, and it should be respected for that. This is horror at its best. It's science fiction, no doubt, a story in space, but make no bones about it, it's claustrophobic and it's terrifying. It's also got so much subtext, you could write a college paper on it. Obviously, you have H.R. Geiger, an artist famous for passing hallucinogens at his exhibits to enhance the experience. I'm not sure why he has such a fascination with genitalia, but he clearly wants to put it in everyone's face.
Oh, bro, that ain't right, man.
Take a look at the diving, bitch.
Ooh, it's so veiny.
Then there's his design on the alien itself. The perfect organism. The dripping double mouth, the acid for blood, and its MO is simple. It's trying to impregnate you in a totally messed up way. You could argue that it's an exploitation film, and the 70s were ripe with these. The effects are all old school practical effects of that era, which is why it works so well. It's 45 years old and still looks fantastic. I'm sure you're all sick of me using the term world building, but it all started here. The aged look of the spacecraft and equipment, the motion tracking device, the android host, the mother computer, the evil company. There's also a kind of twist as 2/3 of the story are not told through Ripley's point of view. You follow a group and she just happens to be the lone survivor who beats the odds. I can't talk about Alien without mentioning the dinner scene. It was carefully crafted to scare the living shit out of audiences back then. One scene that always stands out for me is Lambert slapping the shit out of Ripley, which actually ended up being a real slap. Man, there aren't too many of these memorable slap scenes, but I can think of a pretty good amount of them. Just so you know, in Brooklyn, a slap like that is followed up by tying your hair back, taking off your earrings, and having your friends make sure it's a fair one. Much like the hit movie Jaws, you don't see the alien in full for the majority of the film, and that adds to the fear. There are certain kills that are not visually shown but heard. This movie is also famous for one of the greatest jump scares in horror history. It's all genius movie making. It's a timeless masterpiece. It's just special in every way. Well, guys, that about wraps it up. From the city that never sleeps, from the BK, peace, baby.
My name on marquees found down on Broadway. Even if it ain't all it seems, I got a pocket full of dreams, baby. I'm from New York.